Welcome back to Living Like Dragons. This is Michael.
I'm Tyler.
Today we're going to be showing you how we make one of our home brew meads. And the first step to that is always sanitization. So we're going to go through and sanitize all this equipment, which I'll show you piece by piece. Using Star San, we're going to do a ratio of 1/2 ounce to 2.5 gallons of water. And to get my gallon, I simply use one of my 1 gallon carboys and fill it up twice, and then halves.
Links to the product below.
No, we're not sponsored by them, sadly.
How much are you adding?
1/2 ounce. As far as the sanitization vessel, I just use a very cheap tub. It works. It'll hold everything. And I use fairly hot water. As far as the reason behind sanitization, you want to make sure you don't have anything else that you're adding to your brew that, it might lead to molds and other bacteria that's not safe. I haven't had any of those issues, but I've heard about them, and I'd rather not deal with them. Put in a swirl. I feel like it makes it take longer to get out, but it looks cool.
How much water are you adding?
2.5 gallons. 2.5 gallons to 1/2 ounce of Star San. At least the brand that we're using. Some of the other ones that they make probably have different ratios. So read the back, figure it out. Play it safe. It's food grade safe, so it's safe to a certain extent, but as with everything, you got to be careful of the quantity. Anything and everything is toxic to an extent. Yeah.
Today's drink of choice, although typically is whiskey, is Wilderness Superstition Coffee Stout. Trust me, it's the best stout there is. Our filmer, though, is Caitlin. She didn't
Hi.
introduce herself.
I'm the quiet one, so it's fine.
Quieter. Alright, so let's get it all in there. All I do is mix it up. Using the thing that I use to clean the inside of the bottle with. Just get it a little mixed. So then we got our bungs, which I'm throwing in more than what I need for today's project, but I like to sanitize everything. Just keep it sanitized.
CYA.
So these are the airlocks. Super cheap, highly recommend them. Highly recommend them. Stop in. They stop bugs and everything else from getting in for the most part. I mean, some people turn the cap a little bit, allow the air to release, but it doesn't always stop stuff from getting in. I like to play it safe. Here's our auto siphon. Not going to be using it today. But like I said, I like to clean everything each and every time. Never hurts. Just keeps it all playing safe.
After watching you do that, I may need to take a bathroom break.
Funnel to drop the honey in. We're going to throw the bottle itself in. And this is where I like the auto siphon because I use it to fill the bottle up because I don't quite have a big enough tub, and I also don't want to use that much sanitization solution. That's the little one in the background y'all probably heard. Get it a ways in. Allow the air to kind of creep it all in. And I generally let everything sit for about 10 minutes. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have everything sit in here for 10 minutes. I'm going to move it around. Sure, it activates a lot faster than that, but like I said, I like to play it safe. So we're going to add our hydrometer in here. Whole piece. Carefully so we don't break it. I get everything that we're going to be using sanitized. So we're going to let this sit for 10 minutes. We're going to pull it out. We're going to lay it on a towel, let everything dry, and then we'll come back to y'all. All right, so we're back for step 2. Everything here has been sanitized. We let it sit for a good, probably longer than 10 minutes. Got it sitting out here drying up a little bit, getting all the bubbles and everything out. I already did that with the carboy. So we're going to go over the fact that we're going to be using Irish breakfast tea, which we're not sponsored by anything yet, probably not anytime soon, but this is what I really like using. I love the taste of it. It's the main thing. If you like the taste, use that. If you don't like the taste, don't use it because you're going to get the taste in the final product. And we're also going to be using a local honey. We're going to be going with a wildflower. So, really like these guys. Their honey always comes out good. It's raw honey, non-pasteurized, but I'm okay with that. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our tea boiling. We're going to do a pretty decent amount. And I'm going to grab a different pot. This one will work. This one's a little overkill in size. We're not going to fill it all the way up. So, about what you would use to make a standard glass of tea.
Would a kettle work?
Kettle would work. So we're just going to stick it in there, put it on high, let this brew. Once it's all done, boiled, gotten the amount of the tea out that we want, we'll come right back to y'all. All right, we're back for the last step. This is the funner step, funnest,
Funner?
hard-working step. All right, so we're gonna add our honey. We're using 3 pounds of honey to a gallon, inside a gallon. Total volume is gonna be roughly a gallon. So we're gonna use 3 pounds. And I did set the honey inside the sanitization solution to raise the temperature so that it would be easier to pour. Otherwise, this stuff is slow. It's still slow, but it's way slower cold.
It's like watching an old man pee.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dribble, dribble, dribble. Don't forget to shake when you're done. Oh.
Shoot.
Okay, let it go.
Overfield.
So, and because honey's expensive, I want to get every last bit. So this little bit that's in there, I'm actually going to take our tea,
I
which
see
we let
you.
sit for a while. We're going to put that in there. Since it's nice and hot, should help clean out the funnel, clean out the jar, get every last bit that we want. Thank you, sir.
Drinking on the job.
That's the way to do it.
Every time I taste that, all I can taste is grapes. Pour your sugar on me.
What do you guys say about this?
He's the expert. I drink.
Drink and watch.
Alright, so now we gotta shake it up, get everything mixed, aerated. We want to add a lot of air into the beginning of this. That's gonna help the yeast form its colony, get it going. Watch me break a bottle. So I'm just putting the regular bung on. I'm gonna cap the hole, get a little sticky on the finger, but that's gonna allow me to let go, release pressure, and continue doing it. And we want to get as vicious as possible. This is where the workout comes in. It's really fun when you got a 3-gallon jar of this trying to do it.
I know nothing about workouts.
It's okay. Me either.
Should really play this part and fast forward. With the Benny Hill theme song.
Still a little bit on the bottom.
Other than alcohol stuff, what would you guys like to see on this channel? Because we're not just about alcohol. Okay. We don't want to just be just about alcohol. What else would you like to see? It could be cars, it could be building stuff, it could be design, anything. Whatever Living Like Dragon means to you, let me know.
Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add more water. Get the water at about right here. We're going to use it right out of the fridge because it's filtered.
Small kitchen.
This is going to take a little bit.
So I rammed my side into the corner.
And when we get it to that point, we're going to actually shake it up a little bit more.
Could you use distilled or should you only use filtered?
You can use distilled.
Would it make a difference?
Flavor-wise, yes. If you have really nasty water in your house, use distilled. If the water that comes out of your tap you enjoy and it doesn't taste too bad, use that. In the end, you're trying to make something you're going to enjoy, so you're going to want to use ingredients that you enjoy. This is not one that you cut corners on and use ingredients that you don't enjoy, because everything you don't enjoy will end up in the final product. Mm-hmm. I use the tea to clean out the jar. And I did end up using 2 packs of tea instead of just one. I wanted the extra amount of tea flavor.
Because we're extra.
Yeah. And that's as far as I want to fill it up. Might be a little greedy. I might have put a little too much, but we'll find out in the final. And back to shaking it up. All right. Now we're going to take a gravity reading so that we know what our potential chance for alcohol is going to be. So I don't have anything to do this all fancy like, so I'm just going to very carefully pull it in. Apparently spill some of the process. That might be enough to float it. I'm going to set that on a more stable surface. And this is where we take the hydrometer. Spin it and get rid of some of the bubbles. Just trying to read exactly where we're at. This is where bubbles become a pain. And if you have a fancier way of getting it out, such as a siphon or something, you can do it without getting so many bubbles in there. So we're sitting roughly at 1.15.
Would that be the EBV?
No, so that we'll get that when this is all finished. And I am pouring this back in here because it was all sanitized, so it's safe solution to add back. So this here is what we call a musk. Now we're going to add our yeast. I am using 71B. And I'm going to use half a packet. And I'm just going to add it right to it. There we go. That's it.
Does the alcohol content depend on how much yeast you put in there?
Nope. The amount of yeast you put in there adds up to how fast it will form its colony. So no matter what, you can put in just a couple drops, and if they're live yeast, they'll ultimately form the colony. It's how fast it's going to form the colony to ultimately do it. So I'm going to mix those in. Give it a little bit more air.
What kind of place do you need to store this?
I like to keep. Ooh, that was a lot of pressure. I like to keep it in a dark area. Room temperature is fine as long as you're not in an overly hot environment.
Will my guest room suffice?
Yep.
What are you doing now?
I am filling the airlock with sanitization water. You can use sanitization water. You can use a cheap alcohol. You want to stay away from like rubbing alcohol. You don't want to put rubbing alcohol. You want to use something that you're okay if it accidentally gets in your brew, being in your brew. So the sanitization is completely safe. So that's what I use. So,
But you could use vodka or...
Yep, you can use vodka.
What about Woodward?
I imagine you could, yeah. So it's just to stop any, if there was any bacteria to form from actually going in.
Gotcha.
Depending on how this goes, I might have to take this off and create an airlock using some flexible tubing into like a glass of water, a bucket of water, something, if it's too much of an aggressive fermentation at the start. But we'll see with this. I think it's going to go fairly okay.
When will you know?
By the end of the night. So we'll get back with you. I'll show you probably weekly updates as to how this is doing. And in the end, we'll do a taste test.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Like, share, subscribe.
Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below of what type of videos you would like to see us doing in the future.
And
Don't forget to snort your mead.
Don't forget to snort your meat.